Hi everyone, this is Jo Smart from Phi Angels. It's the 12th of June 2021 and I'm here to do a video on soul contracts because that's been requested. So I'm going to start off being really honest. I normally do these videos in a one-er. No research, no notes, no nothing like that. This is my third attempt today. And that's because soul contracts are really complicated. And so what I've learned from the previous two attempts is I'm just going to keep it really simple and I'm not going to get too deep. So yeah, keep it simple, stupid. That's what I'm going to do. So this will be my third and final attempt at doing this because I don't want to confuse you, and equally I don't want to put you off looking into your own soul contract if that's what you want to do. So anyway, before I go into that, it's the 12th of June 2021. It's a beautiful summer's day here in Leighton Buzzard. The birds are singing, the sun's out, there's a breeze, which is good for me because I can't cope with it being too hot. So today is a lovely, energetic, high vibrational day, so it's a perfect day to do a video like this. So, soul contracts, I'll get right down to business. What is a soul contract? So our soul contracts are what we sign up to at the beginning of our lives, and they set out what gifts we're going to develop, what skills we're going to learn and then use to support the progression of humanity. So whether that's in healing or whether that's in the evolution, pushing the evolution forward, facilitating change, so many things that can facilitate change and healing for the ascension of humanity. Now, even if somebody's not living a spiritual life and somebody's a bit of a skeptic and thinks it's a bit woohoo, hippie, quirky, that kind of thing, doesn't mean that they're not living to their soul contract in that life, because sometimes spirituality isn't conducive with what that person needs to do. So they will be maybe born more skeptical, more focused, more black and white thinking in order to achieve that part of their soul contract. So everybody has a soul contract. And the reason I said it's for lives is because we don't have a contract per life. We fulfill our contract through a series of lives until the point at which we're ready to ascend. And at that point, we take on a different role in the realms. Now, we can still come back in human form and come back with a very specific purpose that we're attuned enough to know and just get on with. Or we could become spirit guides. Or we have jobs, in the other realms that again supports humanity. So we are working to achieve that. So there's no specific timeline on that because it's dependent on so many variables. Now, before I get into what those and what that means in our life is, you may have heard of something called the Akashic Records. I'm not an expert on that by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know, I'm privileged enough to know people who are training in it, who are learning about it, because those records can be accessed. Now, the Akashic Records are basically where our soul contracts are, and there are history. And then there are future in terms of the lives. Now, obviously, the future lives change depending on what's happened in our previous and our current lives. So the future lives are constantly being rewritten depending on what we're growing, what we're developing, what we're doing, in our current life, so to speak. But it also contains all of our soul history, how many lives we've had, what we did, what we learned, what were our challenges, what didn't we learn, what changed that means that there's something else needs to happen in a different life. The keeper of the Akashic Records is Archangel Metatron. So our soul contract is very much in the angelic realm, and that's why it's good for us to know about, it's good for us to look into, it's good for us to be interested in. And like I say, people do train to access their Akashic Records, but I fully believe that there is a limit to what we in our human form can understand about it, for very good reason. because it might blow our minds, our little human minds. So like I say, it's good and it's comforting to know that we have a soul contract as well, and that so we don't have a specific set of lives or a specific timeline in order to achieve that ascension. So that's kind of the easy bit. The complicated bit is about the purposes we have in each life. So whilst I said we don't have a soul contract per life, depending on what happened last life will determine what we kind of should be working towards and should be doing in our current life. But there are things that can interrupt and intervene with that. And what I want to say as well is that, and again, I respect people who believe, that people's belief is in things is their own belief in what some people will say, that this particular lives are designed for us to experience particular pains or particular traumas, to experience particular hardships. That doesn't quite sit with me, because to me that contradicts the fact that angels love us. The source has nothing but love for us. The universe, whilst being literal, only wants good things for us. That contradicts that. And so it doesn't sit with me that particular lives need, because I feel like when things happen to us, or we're born into a situation that because of other people's free will means we're not necessarily going to achieve what we wanted to in that life towards our soul contract. When people hurt us, or when people do bad things to us, our angels cry as much as we do. Our angels feel that pain as much as we do. Our angels are as devastated as we are. When we see things happening to other people, people we're living in war-torn countries, people that are abused or neglected, people that are murdered, our angels feel our outrage to that as well. And those things don't happen because that needed to happen in their life for them to learn a lesson. Those things happen because of other people. So the really complicating factor in this, and where the reason why I'm doing this 3 times, because I've gone off in silly tangents and I shouldn't, is the complicated thing that runs through all of this is free will. Free will is a gift. We all have free will, but other people's free will can impact on us and can intervene and interfere with our purpose. So yeah, we do get challenged. People have challenged me, So if we all have a purpose in life, and we all have angels, why did that baby get killed? Why did that lovely young teenager get cancer and die? And I do not have the authority to answer that question. That is one of those things we're not supposed to know about, because they're the things that blows our human minds. But I know that those things aren't planned by the universe, and those things aren't planned by our angels. We are born with the expectation that we will die. Therefore, our bodies are not invincible or perfect. So sometimes, because they're not perfect, and not only can be impacted by illness and disease, can be impacted by other people's free will, i.e. driving dangerously or carrying a knife, then sometimes that date of death can get brought forward because of other people. Sometimes the person we were supposed to grow into, we don't, because the parents we were born to, who we signed up to get born to lives ago, exercise their free will in a different way, which means they're not as good parents or as loving parents as they could have been. And or they've experienced a trauma because of somebody else's free will. So see, the ripple effect, the domino effect of free will is what has that impact. But regardless of that, our angels and our source and our ancestors, all the spiritual support team, have nothing but love for us. And so when bad things happen, they cry with us, but they didn't make it happen. They can't protect us from everything. because evil exists as long as a man exists, as long as a woman exists. So, as long as humans exist, evil will exist, because sometimes free will means that people do bad things, or people grow up into adults that do bad things, and we get ill and we can have accidents. So that can interrupt us with our purpose, but that's, we get another shot, we come back. And that's why, like I say, it's not linear. It's like this life in 1941 you will do this, and this life in 2006 you will do this. It's way more flexible than that. Another thing that we can do is opt out. We can choose that this life we're not going to do that work, we're not going to do that growth, we're not going to do that development. We can opt out. You have to specifically opt out by saying, I opt out, universe, I choose not to live with that intention this life. And that's fine. There is zero judgment. There is only love. What happens, and what I found with people that have been to me this year, and why I did the Stepping Into Our Purpose video last time, was because lots of people haven't opted out, but equally don't feel like they've stepped into their purpose for this life, and so it's been nudging them, because that is something else that will happen unless you purposefully opt out, but you've been doing other stuff, but you still intend on a soul level to step into your purpose for this life. You will continue to get nudges, and you will continue to get messages, and it will continue to be that nagging voice in your head leading you to it, because you signed up to it, you want to do it, and therefore the universe will move things in order for you to achieve it. And so that's why it's really important that you listen to your intuition and you listen to those voices in your head, because like I said last time, our ego is only as old as we are in this life. Our intuition is as old as our soul. So that's why it will nudge us, and our angels, our guardian angel follows us through all of these lives as well. So they know, our intuition and our guardian angel know what humanly, consciously, we don't know. So that's why it's really important that we listen to those nudges. I believe as well, and people often ask me, that we come back in soul groups. So we sign up to journey this together with other people, like our soulmates and our soul flames. We do journey through these lives together and grow together. Sometimes, again, because of free will in particular lives, that can fall into a bit of a toxic pattern. And often that presents itself as a power imbalance in relationships, and it will continue to have that balance until one of those people breaks the cycle. And at the point at which that person breaks the cycle, even if it means those people, those souls separate in this life, by breaking that cycle, they can come back in another life to continue as they had agreed to, they had signed up to right at the very beginning. So that's it really. Like I said, I don't think I should go on anymore because it is complicated, and all I'll do is complicate it more. But I think the real message behind this, and the reason I got the request, and the reason so many people have come back to me about purpose, the real message about this is that you always have a choice, and you have to accept that other people have a choice. So all you can really do from one life to the next is concentrate on your purpose. Be here for that, your purpose, not anybody else's purpose. Healing people, helping people, yes, if that is your purpose, but not to live other people's purposes for them, or not to push other people in their purposes, because our lives are so flexible. And if people don't, or even if you want to opt out of your purpose this life and have a break, or concentrate on something else, then you can do that. But we just live for our purpose in this life. Nobody else's. But also the biggest message of all is, no matter what happens, you were never meant to feel pain. You were never meant to experience trauma. If that happened, it wasn't part of your soul journey. That doesn't mean you don't learn from it. That doesn't mean you give up on what comes next. You know, and you doesn't mean you don't try to heal from it. You must. But know that it wasn't part of your soul journey. It becomes part of your history, but it doesn't become part of your identity. And I think that's what's really important. And it doesn't mean that you are not as loved or as protected as anybody else. You're not as special as anybody else. You really, really are. And your angels were with you at that time. If it's happening now, your angels are with you at that time, at this time. They are wrapping their wings around you. They are wiping away your tears. They are lifting you back up. Because whatever part of the journey you are on, in whatever life you are on, number 1, number 10, number 111, your purpose is to serve in a way that serves you and to be happy and to be loved. That is the ultimate thing. That is the theme that flows through all of our lives. So there's lots of, if you are interested in soul contracts, you know, there's lots of books and stuff that you can read, particularly on the Akashic records. I'm not going to recommend any because you'll find the one that suits you the most. And like I say, you can do courses to access those as well. It's not something I'm particularly called to do yet. I'm quite happy in this life, just seeing what comes next. Although I am going to be working with somebody who is training as kind of one of their test clients, which is quite exciting. But that's what that is. And like I say, I didn't want to overcomplicate this, and I hope I haven't. But I hope that some of that comforted you and resonated with you. And I will leave it at that before I ramble on. Completely don't make sense anymore. But again, if you have any requests, ping me a message. I'll see what I can do. Not an expert on it so much. You can never be an expert on anything, but I'm happy to give you my interpretation of it, see if that resonates or whether it prompts you to do more work on it if it's an area that you're called to do. So I will see you in a couple of weeks for the July 2021 Lightworkers reading. I haven't decided what that's going to be on yet, but I've got plenty of time to think about it and listen to my angels about it. And so until then, have a wonderful rest of June. I wish you well and love and light, and catch up with you soon. Bye.